you have ever been to a country where clean water wasn't plentiful, food was scarce, and the most common mode of transportation was by foot? Well, approximately 1,568 miles from Kentucky lies an impoverished third world country known as Guatemala, which contains approximately 9.3 million people. Many have read or heard about Guatemala, but don't know what it's really like to experience it firsthand. Through research, having a friend who lives in Guatemala, and visiting this place annually on mission trips, I have gained a better understanding of what Guatemala is like in its culture. Hi, my name is Bethany Geralds, and today I'm going to inform you about Guatemala and some of the experiences I had as I attended their worship services, helped with everyday chores, lived under the control of their government, and experienced a true meaning of love. First, let's look at religion in Guatemala. Just as it is in the United States, Guatemala's religion is very diverse. Roman Catholicism is the dominant religion of Guatemala. Protestants account for approximately 1/4 of the population. Mayan religion also makes us a small percentage of Guatemalan population. Guatemalans also practice witchcraft, which is something that is almost non-virtually existent in the United States. Next, let's examine Guatemalans' daily life. Aside from religion, I believe Guatemala's lifestyle is particularly important to understand in comparison to those living in the United States. Most of the rural areas consist of peasant farmers. Making Guatemala's trade is also very big in this organization, in this society, as they make pottery, they weave blankets, and they make their own jewelry in which they sell at markets. It seems that 87% of the population lives below the poverty line, and 70% live in extreme poverty, unable to afford a minimum diet. This is something that we don't have to worry about most commonly in the United States because we always seem to have food on the table. Next is traditional customs. Some traditional customs in Guatemala include food, which is very important, and also many traditional holidays such as Christmas, Advent, the Three Kings, and Easter. All of these are something that we have in the United States, although the Three Kings is something that we don't normally consider anything out of the ordinary. The Three Kings in our society, however, is a different branch of Christmas, as where we believe the three wise men followed the star to go find Jesus, and we believe that in our Christmas beliefs. This is something that they celebrate different, and they celebrate this on the morning of the 6th of January. Food. Like I said, this is a big thing in Guatemala. As it is in the United States, they have approximately 3 meals a day, and their largest being at lunch. They make things such as corn tortillas and tamales, black beans, rice, wheat bread, and pasta. Guatemala is also popular for its wide variety of vegetables and exotic fruits. Language is also a key factor anywhere you go. Guatemalans often speak different dialects of Spanish, depending on the region in which you plan to visit. They also tend to speak an American Indian. Next, let's examine Guatemala's government. From talking and visiting with my Guatemalan friend Felix, I realized that just as our government is a key factor in our society and the way that it contributes to many things in our world, Guatemala is very much comparable. The two aspects that I would like to talk about today is the education and the orphanages within Guatemala. Guatemalan schools are available to those based on social ranking, with the exception of those who are physically and mentally disabled. The government separates healthy children from those with disabilities. This segregation is something that we don't see very often in the United States because all children have the right to an education. The orphanages are where many children are placed in Guatemala due to the social hardship in the economy, and these that are not placed in orphanages are left to fend for themselves. Once a child reaches the age of 18 years old, they're considered an adult and are kicked out of the orphanages. Guatemalans are often 0 to 15 years old, which make up the majority of the population, and it is very common to see many children as they make their way through the villages with little infants on their back of their brothers and sisters. Lastly, I would like to examine the value of love. Since I have been visiting Guatemala, I've come to the assumption that Americans try to incorporate kindness and caring for others. but Guatemala's driving force happens to be the power of love. Families bind close in Guatemala in order to survive, creating an unbreakable bond of love. This is similar in the United States. Not only do families have a strong bond of love, but also share that love with their community and their society as a whole. They are very empathetic because they are facing the same struggles. Lastly, clearly the United States and Guatemala have many similarities and differences. But one big difference, however, lies within the untamable, constant power of love. Although Guatemala's religion, daily life, and government seem to be less valuable than what we have in the United States, the power of love far surpasses the poverty of America and the surplus of resources that we have. Thank you.